We continue with the HAZOP meeting documentation, which is captured during the PHA or process hazard analysis. In lesson 7B, part 1, we looked at the attendance register, the proposed P&ID and node 1, and also the deviation checklist. We examined the HAZOP record input form and extract which is shown on this slide. As an example of the consequence of a deviation, we look at line 1, reference 1, and the team decide that the consequence will be no product received. We will examine the risk ranking in the matrix in the next slide. The consequence will be a severity of 1, a negligible consequence, affecting the reputation of the company. In that, there will be a delay in operations at the terminal and a likelihood of C, a remote likelihood or frequency. This results in a risk ranking lookup of a 3 on a dark blue background or as a medium tolerable risk which can be improved upon if there are inherent safeguards. The next spreadsheet is the full HAZOP record input form, which is used in the meeting to record all the decisions made by the HAZOP team under the guidance of the HAZOP facilitator. As we only have one node, we only show node 1 in the spreadsheet. As described in lesson 7A, the reference numbers in column 2 are automatically transcribed from the deviation checklist, as are the entries in column 3, the parameter and guide word, and column 4. The description of the deviation or hazard. The team then decide on a possible cause for the deviation. And when the facilitator is satisfied that the team have reached consensus, the scribe will enter the possible cause in this column. Every hazard has a potential consequence. And again, the team decide what the consequence will be. In this case, line 1, the consequence will be no product received to the tank. As discussed, the team have decided on reputational risk or the possibility of a delay in the terminal operations. In addition, it is a severity of 1 and a likelihood of C, resulting in a risk ranking of a 3 on a blue background, as automatically looked up in the spreadsheet. We now ask the team to consider any inherent safeguards to the no-flow hazard, and the consensus is operator training and line-up procedure, which is entered into the safeguards provided column. We now revisit the risk matrix to see what effect the safeguard will have, and the team decide on an S of 1 and an L of A. Note, the severity will stay the same notwithstanding the safeguard, only the L will improve to an A, which now looks up a risk ranking of 4 on a light blue background, or a low negligible risk. Note that if the risk ranking after considering the safeguards results in an intolerable risk, then the team will be asked to make recommendations. As an example, the level of protection and the lineup for the new system should be updated. Note that the recommendations will not affect the risk ranking, as they may not be implemented by the client. On the HAZOP worksheet, there are cells above which are marked 1 to 4 for severity and A to F for likelihood. If the cursor is hovered above the description of each level of severity or likelihood, then the description will pop up and the team can then have a more meaningful discussion as to the level to enter into the risk matrix. There is a column to enter who will be the responsible party to action the recommendation and a date by which it should be completed. All of this information is automatically transcribed to the recommendation list and status, a spreadsheet which we will describe in Lesson 7B, Part 3 of the e-course Safety Analysis in the Process Industry.